InsideThunder.com. Powered by Wheeler Whitlock Insurance.
Well, I just want to, first, congratulate the Mavs. Obviously, they didn't win the series, but I thought their guys competed at a really high level every single night. It was certainly a hard-fought series. I thought both teams competed really, really hard. I thought today we had hurt them, I think, quite a bit, on the glass in particular. And I thought we got out to a pretty good lead there. And then I thought their second chance points to start the third quarter, when we had a 7-point lead, we gave 2 offensive rebounds, cut the lead. We had a couple, obviously, in the first half that really allowed them to really cut into our lead. And I thought Powell and Pachulia, all those guys did a really, really good job on the glass. I think the shooting percentage for them was pretty high, but I think also was they got a lot of shots back. Obviously I thought individually Russell, had an incredible game, and I thought Kevin played, very, very well. They're a hard team to guard with Dirk. We decided midway through the fourth to do some switching. I thought that helped us a little bit get some stops. But, we're excited about getting a chance to move on and play again. And, just knew that every game against these guys was going to be hard fought.
Questions for Coach Michael.
Coach Michael Kenny, first, can you talk about the injury to Enes? How is he? And then second, overall, how would you describe what you saw from this year team throughout the series?
Enes is fine. He was able to go back in the game. I don't even know what his injury was. He was certainly looked like he was grabbing his leg. I'm not sure where, but the trainer told me he was able to go back in. So, I'm happy he's healthy. I think for us getting a chance to move on and advance is great. I think these series like this, and I've got a lot of respect for Rick, as a coach and as a person, and. I think this series made our team better. We dealt with a lot of, physical confrontation in the game, and I say that in a very positive way, not in a negative way. And we got tested in a lot of different ways. And hopefully through these 5 games, we're better from it.
Dean Blevins, News 9 Sports. Coach, I'm curious your reaction to, there's been a lot made of Mark Cuban before the game saying that Russell Westbrook was a star, not a superstar. KD was, and even Coach Carlisle a few minutes ago said that there were 3 superstars out there, including Dirk and your 2. Your reaction to that?
Well, I didn't see it or hear it, but I'll tell you this, I'm really, really happy he's on my team. I wouldn't trade him for anybody. So, there's no question Russell Westbrook's one of the best players in this league. There is no question about that at all. And I'm happy I get a chance to watch him compete every single night. To me, he's a superstar as good as anybody in this league. And I feel as a coach, getting to be around him every day, he's a superstar person. He's a great guy, and he's a great competitor, and he's a great teammate. So there's a lot of things about him, besides what he does between the lines, I think, that make him really unique and special.
Anthony Slater with Oklahoma. Kevin kind of, had a strange series with the game 2 struggles, 3 and 4. He has technical flagrant. Closes out tonight, 10 in the fourth. Just what did you think of his series performance overall, and kind of how he's moved forward?
Yeah, I think the unfortunate part is probably Kevin's a little bit of a victim of his own success. I think when you look at his offensive efficiency rating throughout his career and you see the shooting percentage that he shoots, I think, and then you look at the shooting percentages in this series, you sit there and say, well, maybe he had an off series. I think sometimes you got to give Wesley Matthews a lot of credit, because I thought what really helped us in Game 4 was the way Wesley Matthews was guarding him. Opened up a lot of roles for Enes and Steven and guys like that. But, Kevin doesn't get credit for that at all. And I think there's things that he does that impact the game, and his unselfishness of willing to do that, kind of almost, I don't want to say he was being a decoy, but just moving into some space where it allows a guy like Enes to have 28 points. And everybody's talking about Enes Kanter having 28 points. A lot of those 28 points were because of Kevin Durant and obviously Russell Westbrook. And I'm not taking anything away from Enes, because he had a great game and did some terrific things on his own. But I think because of Kevin's efficiency, people look at the numbers, but they don't really look at so many other things that he does inside the huddles, timeouts, the way he's trying to lead, the end of the game. I mean, look what he did defensively at the end of the game. He's guarding J.J. Barea, he's switching on Dirk Nowitzki, and he's battling Nowitzki in the post. I mean, that was a huge part in the game where they really couldn't get it to Nowitzki to get him shots. Kevin was in the middle of all that stuff, and I think sometimes people just look at Kevin as being this prolific scorer, and he is. But there's so much more to him as a player that I feel like a lot of times maybe flies under the radar a little bit.
Nick Gallo, KCThunder.com. I want to ask you about two facets of the game tonight, 17-3 advantage in points off turnovers and the 18-0 advantage in fast break points. Why were you guys able to capitalize in those two areas?
Well, thank God we offensive rebounded pretty well. And I think, at the end of the third and the fourth quarter, we kept our own offensive rebounds because they were hurting us, and I thought there was some play. We had one play that was really. We got caught against the shot clock. Russell took a long three, and Andre rebounded the ball and laid it in. Like, that was not. We were fortunate there, but there was some offensive rebounds late that helped us that we were able to gather and come up with. Again, I think what happened on the glass a couple of games, I felt like they were going to come in here and really try to do a great job rebounding, and I thought Powell and Anderson and those guys, their energy at times chasing down and tracking down loose balls was really effective for their team.
Yeah, Cliff Brunn, Associated Press. Kevin and Russ at times struggled with their shots during this series, but so many other guys stepped up and had big numbers. How important is it for you guys going forward that so many of those other guys found their grooves in this series as you head into a series against a team that's going to force you to do that?
Well, I think the thing that's hard, and I think even if you look at a guy like Dirk Nowitzki, as great as he is, and he's obviously a special player, and he put together an incredible performance in Game 4, and he came back and he really, really battled tonight. But there was some times in this series where he really couldn't get going either because of the familiarity, and a guy like Serge and Nick and Steven are good defensive players, and it's really hard to perform in a series night in and night out in terms of being really efficient offensively. And I think if you look at a guy like Wesley Matthews, probably maybe some of his shooting probably took a little bit of a hit because he's chasing Kevin Durant all over the place. So I think in these series, when you look at the ups and downs of players, sometimes you got to give the other team a little bit of credit for them game planning and scheming and the effort that they've given. And then I think you also got to look at the fact that sometimes a lot of guys are exhausting energy in different areas that doesn't maybe allow them to be as efficient or as score as prolifically as they have during the year. So it's just really more of I think a positive, and it's more of a compliment to the opponent.
Hey, Billy, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. Coming into this series and where you are now, is there anything that as you look at it you feel better about it, whether it be an individual or an area of the team, just how you come out of this series as opposed to where you came into the playoffs?
I'd say this: if there's something that I would look at that really needs to get better, is I really thought the first couple games we were really good defensively. We held them, I think, below 90, and we were okay. We were pretty good in Game 4. Tonight we gave up 104 points. I thought our defense was just okay. I thought it was really good coming down the stretch, and I also thought that if we could have rebounded the ball better, I felt like they neutralized our runs on some offensive rebounds. We come out of the half and we're up 7, and we give up 2 offensive rebounds for 4 points, and we have 2 empty possessions. Now all of a sudden the lead's down to 3. If we rebound the basketball, maybe we're in transition, maybe something else different happens. But I think that defensively we need to get better. I felt like we found different things offensively, in terms of spacing and movement and those kind of things that I thought we got better as the series went on. I think we've scored a lot of points in this series, and I think the one thing that was great is they threw a lot of different things at us. They threw switching at us to start the game. They threw zones at us. They threw different matchups at us. They double teamed sometimes. We saw a lot of different things. So I think that was good, that we saw a lot of different things, and it was a real competitive physical challenge every single game.
Royce Young, ESPN.com. Billy, your starting lineup this year has been far and away your best lineup, one of the very best lineups, period, in the whole NBA. It hasn't played much in the fourth quarter. I think it's played a little more than 20 minutes during the regular season in the fourth quarter. You finished the game with it tonight. Why haven't you used that one in crunch time very much, and do you think you'll use it more going forward? We can. I think one of the things, coming down is the matchups, and also creating
opportunities spacing-wise for Russell and Kevin. And sometimes we've played some small, sometimes we've played with, Russell and Dion back there. Sometimes like last game against, Dallas, we had Ennis close the game. So I think it's probably more looking at it, as it relates to what's going on inside the game, who's playing well at that time, what do we need offensively and defensively. I thought today in the game, I thought we really needed Andre, because I thought we're going to need to switch, we're going to need to guard the ball, because they were putting us in a lot of difficult binds with Dirk, and they were really trying to go to him, and we got caught having to pull across and help. So we stayed with a lot of defense on the floor, tonight, and I thought that helped us. But really, it's nothing more than, based on what's going on in a particular game.
Last one, Nick.
Coach, I want to kind of piggybacking off of that, ask you about Steven and Andre's defense, Steven's versatility, being able to guard Dirk, and then Pachulia, and then Dre all over the perimeter.
Well, the one thing that was encouraging to me in the series was the fact that, Steven Adams, I'm not so sure, maybe in the beginning of the year, I would have ever put him on Dirk Nowitzki. And I wouldn't have put him on maybe some guys we've been able to put him on. He ended up, I think, playing a lot of different smaller people and did a great job. And, Nowitzki made a couple shots on him, but Steven did a heck of a job defensively in this series for us. He guarded Pachulia up front. He was great in pick and roll coverage. We put him on Dirk when Serge and Nick got in some foul trouble. I really believe that Steven's evolving defensively to be one of those unique centers, and he's got such flexibility, he's got such good feet, and he's really, really smart defensively. So, he did an incredible job in this series all the way around, because he was the one guy tonight that was out of foul trouble, and we probably maybe loaded him up on maybe too many minutes in terms of extended minutes, because he played that whole first quarter without coming out because Nick and Serge had foul trouble.